Hello and welcome to another episode of Scott Reads Comics. Today I'll be covering Who's Who in the DC Universe, Volume 14, published in 1986 by DC Comics. This issue covers Luthor 1 through the Masters of Disaster. We've got a nice sort of peach background color, once again done by George Perez, who appears to be now back on the regular cover duties after a long hiatus. And we can see, of course, all of the various characters depicted in action on the cover. Great in the forefront being Martian Man Hunter, Luthor 2, the Luthor of our Earth, Madame Rogue, Madame Xanadu. We have a few Madams in this issue. Machiste, great warlord character. Just a nice diversity of characters. So let's dive in, take a quick scan through this as we march toward issue 24, which is the concluding issue of this first run of Who's Who. We're more than halfway there, folks. We have some letters, but before we get to those, let's rattle off our credits. Robert Greenberger is still the editor. Len Wein, contributing editor. Marv Wolfman, consulting writer, consulting editor. Mike W. Barr, Paul Kupperberg, Paul Levitz, Barbara Randall, contributing writers. E. Nelson Bridwell and Peter Sanderson, writers, researchers. Todd Klein, production. Anthony Tolan, Len Wein, Tatiana Wood, Tom Ziuko, colors. And George Perez and Dick Giordano did indeed do our cover. We have a bunch of letters. I went through them before I started recording, and none of them are really very interesting, so I'm not going to spend much time on them. They're all just pointing out various errors and also lauding the creative crew for this monumental effort that they're pulling off month to month. So we start out with Luthor. Full name, Alexi Luthor. First appearance, Action Comics number 23. So this would be the Luthor from Earth 2, essentially. Art by Wayne Boring and Dick Giordano. Luthor had no superpowers, though once obtained the Power Stone, which enabled him to fight Superman with similar powers. For the most part, however, he relied on his fantastic genius. And he actually unceremoniously dies in the Crisis issue number 9, the villain issue. I think he's slain by Brainiac. And that would be something, a similar thing would happen in Marvel Superhero Secret Wars when Doom has Ultron slay Kang because he is challenging Doom's leadership of the group, whereas this Luthor was challenging Earth 1 Luthor's leadership of the group, and there it is, Earth 1 Luthor. Name, Lex Luthor. First appearance, Adventure Comics 271, with art by Kurt Swan and George Perez for this entry, and we get Luthor in his cool battle armor, which I always liked. I don't know, folks are kind of divided on this, but I like the battle armor and the vehicles that Luthor had during this period of time. Pretty cool. And next up we have Alexander Luthor, who famously also perishes at the end of Crisis on Infinite Earths number 1. So his first appearance was DC Comics Presents Annual number 1. With his super suit, Alexander Luthor could fly and become intangible, and he possessed weaponry that to date has not been revealed. A brilliant scientist, Luthor created many devices and instruments that benefited his world. He was, however, an unskilled hand-to-hand combatant. Art by Richard Howell and Mike DiCarlo here. Very nice. I like this costume. Very classic look to it. And we see him in the montage sequence in the background here fighting Ultraman from Earth 3. I believe this character, yeah, it's an Earth 3 character. And then we have his son, Alexander Luthor Jr., beautifully drawn here by George Perez. And his first appearance was Crisis on Infinite Earths number 1. So very cool. Next up is Maldor, the Dark Lord, with art by Kurt Swan and Dave Hunt. First appearance, DC Comics Presents number 56. So this guy's been around a long time. Many stories he's been involved in. Maldor possessed seemingly unlimited powers, able to focus and direct the energies of an entire universe. It is impossible to accurately gauge the full extent of such power, but it is safe to say that his abilities made him omnipotent. So I would say he was equivalent of like of a Marvel cosmic villain, maybe like Eternity, or although Eternity really wasn't a villain, but maybe like the Elders of the Universe or something like that. Next up is Machiste with excellent artwork by Mike Grau and Bob Smith. First appearance, Warlord number 2. Machiste has no superhuman powers, but is a superb warrior. So a great, there were so many cool character designs that came out of the early Warlord issues with Mike Grell doing the artwork. So nice. On to Madame 44, another of those DC Western characters. Her first appearance was All-Star Western 117 with great artwork here by Gil Kane for this entry. Really nice. Now we're on to Madame Rogue with great artwork by John Byrne. Her first appearance was Doom Patrol number 86. It's nice that they knew Byrne was a big Doom Patrol fan, so he does a lot of the Doom Patrol and Doom Patrol foe entries throughout the series, and we've come across a number of them. Next up, Madame Xanadu. First appearance, Doorway to Nightmare number 1. I love this character. I loved her bit appearances in Suicide Squad. I believe her first appearance in Suicide Squad was number 8. Very cool character. Nice artwork here by Michael William Kaluta. Madame Xanadu is highly proficient in the art of reading the tarot, the cards being the focal point for her occult sensitivity and her way of explaining her understanding of a subject's terrors to him. Really nice artwork here. This Doorway to Midnight, I should look into that. It might be a nice first appearance to grab. It might still be affordable. Love this character, so we'll look into that. Maybe we'll cover it on the show one day. Next up, Mademoiselle Marie. First appearance, Star Spangled War Stories number 84 with artwork by Andy Kubert. So one of the Kubert sons, one of Joe Kubert's sons, Andy Kubert, some early professional work from him. Very nice. Next up, the Mad Hatter with some very interesting artwork by Bill Sienkiewicz. Then using that experimental style that he was developing at this time. First appearance of the first Mad Hatter, Batman 49. Second Mad Hatter, Detective Comics 230. So yeah, I'm of course very familiar with Mad Hatter 2. But Mad Hatter 1 was more of a Golden Age character. Great Legion character, Magnetic Kid, Cosmic Boy's younger brother. First appearance, Adventure Comics 335. Great artwork by, at the time, Legion artists Greg LaRocque and Carl Kessel. Love those Carl Kessel inks on Greg LaRocque's pencils here. You can tell they're very distinctive. Next up, Major Disaster with artwork by Gil Kane. We're getting some Gil Kane in this issue. First appearance, Green Lantern number 43. I do love this costume. Really cool. I like the colors. I'm a sucker for a hood, even though it takes away all your peripheral vision. It's pretty neat. Next up, we have one of these 2 entries on 1 page layout-ish choices that they made here. First one at the top here is Mal, member of the Teen Titans. First appearance, the original Teen Titans, number 26. Art by Chuck Patton and Romeo Tangal. I love Chuck Patton artwork, and I need to do a show featuring some issues of Chuck Patton art in both Marvel and DC books because I really enjoy Chuck's very solid penciling style. Next up on this page, Malagigi, the wizard whose first appearance was Arak, Son of Thunder, number 2, with art by Arak co-creator Ernie Kalan. Really nice there. I like this piece a lot. Malagigi showing his powers. Ooh, and we have a nice George Perez piece here with Mammoth. His first appearance, New Teen Titans number 3. He was, of course, a member of the Fearsome Five, not the Fatal Five, the Fearsome Five, Titan villain group led by Dr. Light at the time, and then later Simon. He had massive superhuman strength. Another example of tremendous George Perez character design. Really nice work on Mammoth. Love it. Love the background action sequences too. Next up is ManBat. First appearance, Detective Comics 400. Really nice artwork by Ed Hannigan and Ricardo Villagran. Really nice. Ed Hannigan, such an underrated artist that we don't talk about enough. And next we have this curious entry, the Manhawks. Their first appearance was Brave and the Bold, number 43. It looks like they were a Hawkman and Adam Strange villain. So this captures 60s DC, I think, in a nutshell. And maybe, again, they don't provide us with the dates here, but maybe this was pre-1960. But yeah, it's quirky, it's weird, it's old school, Golden Age, Silver Age comics for sure. We have our first of several Manhunter entries. Excellent artwork by Tom Mandrake, an artist, again, like Hannigan, I don't talk about enough on here. First appearance, Police Comics number 6. This is Donald Richards. And next we have my favorite version of the Manhunter, which I've covered here on the show, with art by Walt Simonson, Paul Kirk, the Manhunter. His first appearance, Adventure Comics number 73. In his later costume, Detective Comics 437. So that's when they were in that backup in Detective, and Simonson was really developing his style, his unique style in those stories. And then we have the group, the Manhunters. Their first appearance was first issue special number 5. We have some cool artwork by Kevin O'Neill here. Really nice. Next up, we get a Jim Starlin artwork entry for Mano. Not Mano's Hands of Fate for you Mystery Science Theater fans. Just Mano, member of the Fatal Five. First appearance, Adventure Comics 352. Mano has a glowing disc on his right hand that can disintegrate virtually any form of matter. He is a dangerous physical combatant as well. Yeah, love this Jim Starlin artwork. I would have loved to have seen Jim Starlin do a run on Legion of Superheroes. It would have been awesome. We get our first Kirby of the issue with Mantis, whose first appearance is listed as a dual Forever People number 2 and New Gods number 2, as they came out in the same month, and he was in both issues. Curiously, in his entry, it says, Mantis is the most powerful being on Apocalypse apart from Darkseid himself. So that was something I didn't know. He is, I guess, incredibly powerful. Next up, we have Mara. Her first appearance was Arion, Lord of Atlantis number 2. Excellent Yonder Sema artwork here. And then Mariah with great artwork by Ron Randall. And her first appearance was Warlord number 6. And another Kirby entry here with Mark Moonrider of the Forever People. His first appearance, Forever People number 1. Art by Jack Kirby, Greg Thexton, of course. Besides having a keen mind and a strong body and being well trained in hand-to-hand combat, Mark Moonrider possesses a megaton touch. With it, he can cause a tremendous explosion, and no doubt he could easily kill with it if he and his companions were not sworn to never take a life. Remember, the Forever People were like these Kirby's space hippies. So there was a very trippy title with a lot of high-minded ideas being flung around in that late 60s, early 70s Kirby style. Next up is Mars, God of War. First appearance, Wonder Woman number 1, artwork by Don Heck, and you can see him in action against Wonder Woman right here. Don Heck did a lot of Wonder Woman, so it's cool that they have him doing a lot of these Wonder Woman character entries. Next, we have the Martian Man Hunter with artwork by Luke McDonald and Larry Malstead. I love Luke McDonald's art. Big fan. His first appearance was Detective Comics 225. If you were wondering, he is 6'7", 250 pounds. And he's got He's one of those Swiss Army knife super characters. He has a ton of powers. Martin Champion from Atari Force, his first appearance, Atari Force #2. Artwork by James Fry and Ricardo Villagran. Cool. Then we have a double-page entry on the Marvel family with art by Kurt Schaffenberger. First appearance of the Lieutenant Marvels, Wiz Comics #21. First use of the name Marvel Family, Captain Marvel Adventures #18. First appearance of Uncle Marvel, WoW Comics #5. First appearance of the United Marvel Family #1. And finally, the first appearance of the entire Marvel family, including the Lieutenants, Marvel Family #2. And I won't name them all. Of course, we have Captain Marvel, but I also want to point out Hoppy the Marvel Bunny, who we can see flying above everyone else here. So very, very silly entry. And then we have Mary Marvel with art by Bob Oxner. First appearance, Captain Marvel Adventures #18. Next up, The Master Jailer with art by Rick Leonardi and Rick Magyar. I actually like this artwork combination. Works pretty well here. Very cool. First appearance, Superman 331, The Master Jailer. Not easy being a Superman villain. You've really got to have your stuff together. Okay, this guy has no superpowers. However, his genius enabled him to create traps that have come close to defeating the most powerful heroes. I guess he would have to be pretty smart to do that. And finally, we're going to finish with a great Batman and the Outsiders super team foes, the Masters of Disaster, with awesome artwork by Alan Davis. Really cool. Cold Snap, Heat Stroke, New Wave, Shakedown, and Windfall. And I think Windfall would later go on to become a member of the Outsiders and or the Titans, maybe. New Wave is the leader, and she can transform her body into water. Windfall can control wind. Shakedown is tremendously strong, can generate vibratory forces. Cold Snap is a human freezer, and Heat Stroke can generate extremely high temperatures. They are what they would appear to be. Great artwork here by Alan Davis. Batman and the Outsiders #9 was their first appearance. And that is it. That is Who's Who in the DC Universe, Volume 14. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends, and I'll bring you more soon on Scott Reads Comics. Thanks for watching.